There's no reason to hurry. I don't know where you're running to. You know you don't need to worry. The world is turning to come to you. There's no reason to hurry. I don't know where you're running to. You know you don't need to worry. The world is turning to come to you. You try to find that perfect line before it's out of sight. You chase. Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to today's live stream. I hope that you're all doing well. I hope that you liked the little soundtrack that I tried to put in at the start. We are going to do our routine checkup. We're going to do a quick sound check. I hope that I'm audible, and I would like to welcome Shatarupa to the channel.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'll just introduce myself.
Yes, we are just going to check if they can hear you. And as soon as they say that they can, we have a very cooperative chat. So Himanshu, hi. Naimisha, welcome. Dex Gaming, hi. Likit, hello. Dheeraj, Soumya, Chaitali is here. Am I song? Okay, song was low volume. Fine. We are going to do that. Don't clap or bang the table. I am sorry. I keep doing that. So I think the wire from my mic is still attached to the table. So every time I do this, I think it annoys the crap out of people. All right. I think we are all good to go. Shatarupa, welcome. Can you please introduce yourself to this wonderful chat we have?
Absolutely. Thank you, Siddharth. I'll just introduce. I am Shatarupa. It's a difficult name. I get it.
Okay.
I'm a counseling psychologist and an expressive arts-based therapist. So I essentially use these two elements. I use art in therapy. I use philosophy as well in my therapy. But primarily, my work is that of a psychologist.
Yeah.
And I just take all of this in. I've done my bachelor's in philosophy and my
Yeah.
master's in psychology.
So when we first spoke, the reason that I wanted to have you on is because we had already started this series on psychology.
Yeah.
And when we spoke, I realized that it is a great way to introduce philosophy onto this channel, because now people are already familiar with psychology. So we've done 3 sessions on Sigmund Freud,
Right.
and we did one on imposter syndrome, and we will be doing another one on Sunday on belonging. So the idea of the us and them, and that whole space, and I'm really excited about that. So what I thought would be we could do is to continue that conversation from there and introduce everybody to the idea of philosophy, because it's not something that we think about a lot. I mean, we know it's there in the background, but I want us to now think about philosophy. What is philosophy? Why are we talking about philosophy in 2020?
Right.
That is why I have you here, and I'm really excited to have this conversation. And yes, I think everybody else is excited as well. Abhinav, I won't delete my old streams. Kunal, song is amazing. Thank you. So Shoto, I'm gonna call you Shoto. Is that okay?
Yeah, Shota, yeah.
That's your pet name.
That's my pet name. Anyone can call me that. No
Lovely.
worries. Yeah.
So I had written a song. So for the first time, I tried putting a song as an intro in before the audio started. So yes.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
Yes. So
All right.
Shota, welcome. Let's talk about philosophy.
Sure. All right. So I think let's start by defining philosophy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I think that's exactly where we'll stumble and we'll realize what philosophy is.
yeah. So as soon as we start off saying something like that, I feel this whole weight of expectation of what we are attempting to do, because it
I
is.
know. I know. Right.
Yeah, we're going to attempt it. We're going to
Exactly.
try
Yes.
understanding
It's
it.
our interpretation of what philosophy is.
All right, go for it.
Right. So, okay. So, very simply, philosophy, if we actually have to look at the etymology, as in the word itself, it means love for knowledge. Right. That's it. Right. And that's not enough. Right. And
Right.
that is just so earlier. Philosophy, the word is a very old word. Right. So, it came as something, any knowledge that's studied. Deeply. So even now we use the word PhD for someone who studies anything. So that's a doctor of philosophy,
Right.
right? So,
Oh yeah, that's true.
yeah. So philosophy is essentially a study of anything, but a deep knowledge, deep understanding, and almost academic understanding of it. But that's not it. That's not all of it. It is part right now, especially. It's not just academic, because not many people take up philosophy to study philosophy. They do it as more of a hobby, more of a side thing, right? But there are still people just like me who actually study it more academically, more formally.
Right.
But philosophy can be done in many ways, and in almost every single way possible.
Right.
Right.
So to me, when you say that, what is interesting is that since the last 2 months, I've been involved in this whole, making videos and talking to people, what I've realized is that it started off with neurology, and then it moved on to neuroscience, and then it moved on to psychology. And I realized that throughout the whole experience,
Right.
I have been dealing with just knowledge from different angles.
Right.
Knowledge of self, basically, like, to put it in a very simple way. I have been trying to understand what is it that how do you see yourself. And neurology is one way to see yourself, neuroscience is another way, psychology is another way. And when I started thinking about philosophy, what struck me was it is a way to see anything. So philosophy of fill in the blanks. So
Anything.
philosophy of cricket is how do you see cricket,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
Philosophy of life is how do you see life. Philosophy of love is how do you see love. And similarly, like how neuroscience of love is that particular perspective of love, and philosophy of love would be another way of looking at it. I mean, that is how I see it.
Right. I mean, somewhat. I mean, when we talk about neuroscience of love as well, even that has a philosophy. Why are we approaching love the way we are?
That's
through
true.
the neuroscientific
Right.
approach. So literally everything, even I think if you've studied any subject, literally any field, if you look at the history, you will only find philosophy. Like even mathematics, biology, whatever you study, it starts with philosophy, and then there is a pattern or structure of thinking that is pushed forward, right? That okay, so this if I think about this way, it makes sense. Other way, it didn't make sense. So you evolve. The field evolves that way,
Right.
right? So in regardless of even computer science or even anything, you take up anything, all of it starts with philosophy, right? Because if you're choosing to look at something a certain way, and even if you're choosing to something that I'll come to, like choosing to take one structure as valid and the other as invalid, one information as valid and one type of information as valid and the other invalid, that is a philosophy.
Like truth versus, I mean, at a very basic
Right,
sense, we take something as true and we take something as false,
Yeah.
and that is the fundamental building block of knowledge.
Correct. And
Right, yeah.
That's what's called epistemological philosophy, essentially.
Okay.
That I will come. I am sorry.
Say it slow.
Word.
Say it slow. What is that? What is that big word?
Correct. Right. So I want to
Okay.
share a meme on this as well, but it's essentially epistemological philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just share a meme. One
Okay, we are
second, let
having
me share.
memes. All right,
Yeah, yeah.
guys.
I think that's the easiest way to understand things.
Okay.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
we
Can you
increase
see
your
it?
media volume, Sanjeev. I think Sanjeev has always had a problem with volume. Sanjeev, are you sure you're not just freaking me out for no? Because every time I go into this little panic attack, every time people say volume. So, okay, I hope that everybody's audible now. Yes.
No, sure.
Shoto, one sec. I'm just going to increase your screen size and let's see what meme you have for us. All right. Okay. What is this? What am I looking at?
Okay. So this is a very simple meme. I think it captures everything, like at least what we do in science right now.
Okay.
So this is fields arranged by purity on the top, if you see it. So mathematicians are considered to be the most pure, and math. Where does math come from? Math comes from logic.
Right.
Logic is a field of philosophy. It's a field of
Yeah.
epistemological philosophy.
Correct.
I'll explain what they actually mean and how did we get here and what are the other ways of looking at life as well.
Right.
Right?
Can you
So,
zoom into the? Can you zoom in into the meme a little bit? Are you able to do
just
that?
let me
From
I'm
your
not sure.
from your control, press command plus plus.
Right. Okay, 1 second.
You're on a Mac, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Cool.
Perfect.
Good.
Perfect. I hope that everybody can see it now.
So,
Yeah.
so you can see epistemological philosophers essentially held what we consider truth and what we consider to be not true, essentially.
Okay.
Right? So something is a justified belief and something is an opinion.
Okay.
How do we differentiate between the two? So that has come from epistemological philosophy, right? So why is something a rational thought and something not? So in math, especially nature science, so psychology and sociology are human science, and until then it's nature science, right? So the techniques, so research methodologies that you use, there is qualitative research, there is quantitative research, all of them come from philosophy. And someone has to think. So for example, I am holding this pen, right?
I'm
Does
just
that make
seeing
sense?
I'm just seeing the nihilist one. I just understood what was happening.
It's amazing. This is what nihilists do. I love them for that.
Oh God, I totally get it. Okay, continue. Explain what you are explaining.
I'm so happy you got it though. Okay.
Yeah, explain.
So epistemologically, right now, very simply, I'll just use it. What is a justified belief and what is unjustified?
Okay.
So if I'm holding this pen, I know I'm holding this pen because I can touch it, I can see it, you can see it, peer review is happening right here. And my epistemology is through the sense, whatever I experience through the sense must be true if other people can also view it and sense it the same way. Right? That is my personal epistemology. Right?
That is validation at a very, very fundamental level.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Very fundamental level. Very fundamental level. And it's very important that every single one, whoever studies whatever, you should know why and how have you come to that thought.
Right.
Just knowing that thought is fine, but you will just be practicing it. You won't be understanding it properly. And when it falls apart, you will not understand how to pick it back up.
Correct. Because all beliefs will get broken at some point if you are growing.
Absolutely.
And what you're saying is you better understand how that belief came about so that when those beliefs break, you are able to rearrange them quickly.
Yeah. And you, if you know how they've come about, when they break, you will also know what are the places that you need to fix. Right? You will be able to identify that better.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's so basic, right? Like if you are going for if you're going on a road trip, you better know the mechanics of your bike.
Exactly.
Because it will give you some problem somewhere, and if you know how to put a bike together, then you know how to repair anything. But if somebody's just gifted you a bike and you'd go on a road trip and it crashes, that's it. Like you don't have.
Urban clap. Just
Okay.
am I supposed to? Yeah.
Yeah, you
Clap
can.
placements.
No, we are not sponsored by Urban Club, but we are trying. Yeah. Continue with this glorious meme you have. I love it.
Yeah. So basically this. So if math thinks a certain way or science thinks and this is why new research methodologies keep coming up, because we figure out, okay, like what I'm trying to find may not be this method may not be the right way to go about it. Right? So these are epistemological views, these are philosophical views that to even know, like very simple, going back to this example, to know that I'm holding a pen, I really only need two things: my view, my sight, and my touch.
Yeah.
And peer review, of course. But
Correct.
there are certain things which cannot be sensed by my touch, cannot be sensed by my sight either.
Your senses.
So,
yeah.
correct, my senses. So there will be something else that needs to come into place.
Can you give me an example of something like that? Like something abstract, you mean?
Something abstract. So in human science especially, right, in psychology, like we talk about a lot of very non-empirical things, like what are your thoughts, even emotions, right? So human science has moved towards a more qualitative approach to these things, to research them.
Sure.
Right? And it's more evidence based than empiricism based.
Okay.
Right? So empirical is essentially done by the senses. Your senses can
Yes. So
basically,
I hold a pen. I can feel it, touch it, taste it if you're into that. But that is how you know that this is a pen.
Yeah.
And peer review. So this is empirical evidence because I say so. Like I feel so, I believe so. So it is empirical. And peer review is you ask other people, and if everybody agrees that this is a pen, then that level of evidence increases.
Absolutely.
Right.
And this is a very core part of scientific research, that you publish it on journals. It has to be peer reviewed, it has to be replicated, and then only it stands.
So what makes truth the truth?
What makes truth?
So this is levels of, we are actually discussing levels of evidence for truth.
Exactly.
Damn. And so a case control study will be if I show you a pen and a toothbrush, and if 95% of the times you pick the pen correctly, and you pick the toothbrush saying that it is not a pen, then probably that would be like a case control. So you have a control group.
Control group, exactly.
Right. So your level of evidence increases even more.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when I talk about the pen, it's a very simple thing.
Correct.
But okay, now when the nihilist comes, right? So nihilist.
Yeah. So what is going on there? What is happening below there? Okay.
I hope everyone can see that. So that tickle. So nihilists are amazing. I think they come and question you in a way that I have dropped my question and now bye. You solve your problem. But they are important because we sometimes get in that echo chamber of our truth as well, right?
Right.
So nihilists come in. So how do you know what you're saying is right? How do you know? And
that is super annoying.
Some people you are looking at are maybe subjective people, all of these, like so many. So I think in one of your talks you talked about brain in a vat. That's one of the most popular.
Correct. I was freaking out, Abhish. Like I was just telling him that you could be just a brain in a jar.
So brain in a vat is one of those very nihilist examples of you could just be part of someone's research.
So for those who didn't know, brain in a vat, the hypothesis is that because all your reality is based on your senses, what if you are just a brain in a jar connected to a lot of wires? and all the things that you're seeing and touching and experiencing are just electric signals that is coming to you, which is basically the plot of Matrix.
Yeah.
Like that is what Matrix did. And yeah, there is no real way to disprove it, because how do you know? You can't know.
Exactly.
So yeah, okay. Just because I love this meme so much, I'm just going to like try to figure it out. On the extreme right is mathematicians. So mathematicians are, so maths is basically considered as pure.
Yeah, like most pure because it directly comes from logic. Logic being something very simple. If A is B, B is C, then A is C.
Correct. And
Right?
every time you go over it, you will reach the same conclusion. That is why it is pure.
Right. It's the purest form because the language is the purest.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So there's no subjectivity there. There's a universal agreement.
Yeah, more
Okay.
or less. Yeah.
Correct. And as you go towards the left, so physics, then chemistry, and then biology, and then psychology, and then sociology. So as the closer you go to human behavior, the more impure the science gets, so to
Right.
speak.
Like, so to speak. Yeah.
Right.
Because essentially, I think it's written here. It's applied. So physics applies mathematics. Chemistry applies physics.
Oh,
Right, it's so that's where, so sociology is applied psychology. So
psychology.
once you build a formula, then the next field comes along, and then
Right.
they keep applying and find it like more practically, they find more practical
Yeah.
and events.
So one thing was really interesting was that I was thinking of the evolution of the universe, and imagine how it started. Like we are assuming that it started with the Big Bang, and probably the sciences themselves came about in this order. So
Yeah.
initially there was just energy, and then that converted into mass, and so we can assume that maths got converted into physics, and then because energy got converted into mass, and then that condensed into chemicals like atoms, and different elements came, and then came atoms and molecules. So then you reach chemistry. And then after millions of or billions of years, chemistry turned into biology, because it is that chemistry that formed proteins, and proteins formed amino acids, and amino acids formed DNA, and then
Right.
DNA formed organisms, and then biology formed thought. Like, so if biology evolves enough, you evolve into the brain, and then you form psychology, and then you reach sociology. So it's literally like,
Actually, I
That
never
is how-
noticed it like that.
yeah, that is how evolution has happened. The universe evolved in this from pure to impure, which is so mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't think it this way, but this is very interesting because math being the purest language,
Yeah.
we do see it that way. Okay, first the most objective as we can be.
Correct.
It's of course not the most completely objective, but
Yeah.
as objective as we can be.
Right.
And you're right, like that's quite interesting. I didn't look at it that way.
Awesome. I'm glad that blowing minds work both ways.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
amazing. Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead
Sure.
with this. Let's
Sure,
keep
sure.
that thought aside and sort of explore that at greater detail later. And
No, I would actually like to continue with
okay,
this.
amazing. I love
So
that
this-
even more.
Yeah. So what you just did is you philosophize.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I did. Yes. Oh wow.
You-
Yes, I did.
You philosophize that there is a certain parallel or certain comparison between how the universe grew and how we evolved in our education, in our knowledge as well.
Absolutely.
You philosophize.
Yeah.
We don't yet have proof for it, right?
No, we
We don't have evidence for it. We will have to do, like, this is a good hypothesis, but we'll have to run through that. So I think I want to talk about this. So what you have mentioned, it would require like an immense amount of research, right? Like we probably don't even have instruments to actually look through
True.
things that way.
Yeah, probably like in 1,000 years they'll realize that I was right, and
Yeah.
I'm glad. So this video will be proof that I said this here.
I said this first.
Probably. Perpetual soda. Thank you, man. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, all right. I want to say, so until we have that instrument,
Yeah.
we cannot call it a scientific truth,
Yeah.
because we can't prove it or disprove it, right?
Interesting.
And this is where the concept of falsification comes in. Falsification being a very important part of scientific research.
What does that mean? What does it mean?
All right. So falsification essentially means that when we do research, okay, something very simple. When we do research, there is a very key part called methodology. We write down exactly what has happened so people can replicate.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So a scientific truth can only be considered something where the methodology is clear. I can prove or disprove it. So this is why I'm going to give you an example. Okay, let me not actually get to that, but I'll give you one example.
Sure.
Of Freud.
Okay. Freud, everybody is familiar with by now. So yes.
Yeah. So Freud's, most of his theories, though his work is being researched now and a lot of it is being credited as well as discredited.
Yeah.
But a lot of his work cannot be proven or disproven, because it's like what he said is, so for example, id-ego, superego.
Yeah.
Right? How do we prove or disprove that it exists?
Correct.
So this is why Freud is still not considered scientific. Right? Freud is still the early psychology, or he's almost considered to be a philosopher now.
Correct.
Yeah. So, sorry, go on.
Yeah, like this in the chat, everybody is like, yeah, Freud is everywhere. We know Freud. So Freud is like our old friend because we spent like 3 sessions talking about Freud. So we know about him.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, he is for sure. And it's interesting what you said, because even I had that same instinctive reaction that a lot of what he said is philosophy, because that's what the philosophers did. They said these things that could not be proven or disproven, but at least it lays a marker,
right,
for people to think about. Like it shines a light forward where initially there was nothing. Now at least there is some light, and it may be showing something true or false, but at least it's showing something now. Like that is sort of what he did, according to me.
Exactly.
And 1 second, Thompson de Cruz just said there's duality everywhere in the universe. Wave particle duality in physics, in psychology, duality is soul and body. Soul is what makes us immortal. Thompson, that is an insightful comment. It's interesting what he said about duality.
I will actually come to that.
Yeah.
I have planned to come to that, because that's a Descartes concept. I will talk about Descartes.
We will get to this.
I will touch upon that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Continue.
I'll talk about that a little later. I wanted to finish the thought on Freud.
Yes, tell me.
Yeah, so essentially what Freud did is used clinical trials, right? So that's phenomenological studies. So there are different techniques among philosophy as well, right? So there is just narrative studies, there are phenomenological studies, so interpretative studies. So there are different kinds of studies within it, and not everything comes under science or facts, but things could change. That's something that we always have in science, that things can always change if given enough evidence.
Interesting. Yes, that is like the fundamental nature of science, which is what is so difficult for people to wrap their heads around, because how can truth change? That is it is such a, it seems fundamentally wrong, because when you say tell me the truth, they assume that it is something that is fixed, permanent, unchanging. But the fact is that science changes all the time.
Absolutely.
With new evidence. Yeah. Continue. Yeah.
Yeah, and that changing of, science is called, there is a term for it as well. It's called paradigm shift. And
Oh yeah, I've heard of this. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
it's a familiar
it's
term. It keeps
yeah, it's
coming up. Yeah.
upcoming. So paradigm shift, essentially how I think physics takes the longest time for paradigm shifts, while in psychology it's like fast. Like in every 10 years there is a paradigm shift in the, because okay, now we thought this is the best way to go about it, but okay, no, we figured out a better way. So does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Okay. Okay, I'm just having a mind-blowing moment because coming back to what we spoke about evolution, do you know how long it takes for the earlier organisms to evolve? Like to learn, basically.
Right.
Like for a tree, for example, like there's a species of a tree, and if the weather is changing, the tree will take several years, several generations for its like to adapt to new climate, new environments,
Right.
and learn to live with more water, less water, whatever. Animals take a shorter time,
Shorter time, yeah.
and humans can evolve in a day, in an hour, in a second, because our learning is much faster.
Faster.
And I just realized that this parallels the fields themselves. So
Yeah.
physics takes forever to turn around.
Yeah.
And
And this is why it's purer. Because
Yeah.
if you say something, it will stay that way for a while. If a psychologist says something, if someone hears it, that in itself will change the course of
Yeah, absolutely.
that event. Yeah.
Correct. And the impure, so-called impure, it is impure for a reason, because you need to evolve quicker.
Quicker. Exactly.
Continue.
Yeah. Awesome. I think you got it, and I love. Shall we check with the chat a little bit?
Yes.
move on,
I think that everybody is sort of on the same page. Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am." Yes, that is what he said. I think we will get to that.
Yeah, I will explain a little bit.
There is Descartes OP and Freud OP in the chat. I think this has to be this has to be one of the most intelligent chats going on YouTube stream right now.
Awesome.
Anandita said, "Oh my god, all my crash course philosophy lectures are coming to use." I'm so glad. Probably people thought that ये सब कभी काम आएगा, but now it is getting used. So I'm glad about that. Amrita in the house. Yes, Amrita is in the house. I just had a realization phase. I did. So that was like a click in my head, because I never thought about that before this. Talked about falsification a lot in my pure science degree conversations. Prarthana said, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, yes.
I'll just stop sharing that screen.
Sure. Continue.
Alright.
Shoto.
Shoto. All right. So awesome. So we've explained basically epistemological philosophy. That's just one of hundreds of different types of philosophies,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So I'll simply just brush through a couple of them,
Okay.
right? So what kind of philosophies do you already know of? What are the schools of thoughts that you know of?
So I know that. So I know one is the hierarchy of, or rather the chronological order of philosophy. So like Socrates and then Plato
Sure,
and Aristotle, and how their philosophies evolved. I know about let's see, what else do I know? I mean, I've heard about nihilism and stoicism and absurdism. So I'm recently reading about absurdism, which is super fun, because I realize that it relieves you a lot of your responsibilities. It's all like, okay then, whatever. So that is a very useful philosophy to know, and I think that's about it. And I know about Indian philosophies a little bit, like Vedanta and
All right. So awesome. I'll just explain a couple of things.
Sure.
So when we study philosophy, academically, and it really need not be. How we study can just be a part of how you can study.
This is studying.
This is studying.
This could be a course in philosophy for all we know. Yeah.
So when we study philosophy, so we break it down into parts. So right now we did epistemological philosophy. There is philosophy of religion. There is philosophy of theology, and this is very interesting how theological philosophy is different from philosophy of religion. You
Okay,
can
that
be
I'm really curious about. Like, what is the
yeah.
difference? Can you give me in a line?
Sure, of course. So, theology essentially means if you're atheist, theist, you can be a physicist and still believe that there could be, and very likely you could believe that there is
Sure.
some superpower,
Sure.
someone above us, or something that I believe is we are like an amoeba or something like that. There are many things
Levels
like
above, yeah. Sure.
levels above, just like we have a lot of bacteria and things
Sure.
living within us. So this is theology.
Hmm.
Religion is different. Religion starts with one theistic belief that there is a God, and then they build around it.
Okay.
Right?
Interesting. It's something that I've always been fascinated by, and yeah, maybe, I mean, not on this stream, but it's something
Yeah,
that I
something.
definitely want to explore, like very calmly, very slowly, sort of go back in history and talk about how things evolved and why things evolved, and how do we make sense of it, because it's almost like it's like a forbidden topic, like it's like you can't talk about this, but then I would like to believe that we can create a space where we can talk about it and still not trigger too many amygdalas. It'll be tricky, but let's see, someday in the future, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, so we all, I think something I would like to really focus on is that we all live in philosophy. So
Okay.
culture is a manifestation of philosophy.
Okay.
Okay. So
Wow, that's
can
a
you-
lovely sentence. One second. Can I just run
fun.
through it? Culture is a
Sure.
manifestation of philosophy. So the way we understand society is culture.
Absolutely.
Kind of,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
Like-
and what we do, and
What we do.
and what we think is right, and what we think is wrong, and how we should behave, and certain things are not even thought about, certain truisms that we
Correct.
have.
And when we say that, oh, this is Western culture and this is Indian culture, what we mean is that set of people have a different way of looking at the world, and
Absolutely.
for us it's a different way of looking at the world, and we are both living lives, and we are both living and learning and dying, but it's just the way we live is a little different.
Little different. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Arun
I-
has just said that the concept of soul or consciousness as we know today is just an epiphenomenon, meaning it is a byproduct of our thoughts, mostly language based.
that is a school of thought. Yes.
Yeah,
That is a
that's
school of
yeah,
thought.
I like that. I like the sound of that. Okay. Yes, Shata.
Right. So, okay, I'd like to explain a little bit how we live in philosophies and
Sure.
even breathe philosophies essentially.
Okay, that sounds good.
And it's not something that someone else does. We all do it, and we all actively do it. So, something very simple. I think I really want to talk about this. Democracy, right?
Go for it. I'm interested.
Yeah. So democracy. So we grew up, like our generation grew up in a democracy, and we don't think of any other way
Sure.
to be the right way,
Sure.
right? And it's there in our head.
Yeah.
No matter what, even if we are looking at other kinds of lives, we are still political structures, we
Yeah.
are still imagining democracy somewhere in the baseline. We
Yeah.
don't imagine like complete overthrow
Correct.
of that, even
Yeah.
if we are imagining something.
Hmm.
And it's ingrained in us right now. So, and it's so interesting because the generation before was living in a colonial world.
Yeah, their
right?
reality was different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now I will come to Socrates, because Socrates was anti-democracy. And
Yeah. I know that. So Plato, in fact, shifted it towards a little bit more towards, or no, even
no, Plato just wrote what Socrates said.
Okay.
Aristotle changed.
okay, Aristotle changed, right?
Aristotle changed, So I'll explain. So imagine me, like this person, 18-year-old me, who reads the Republic for the first time.
Right.
So the Republic is written by Plato.
Yeah.
And it's basically this dialogue that Socrates is having with other people.
Yeah.
Okay? And according to his concept, the society should not have any family system. There will be mating festivals. No one will know where they are coming from. No one will know. And people will be called guardians of the society. All right. So they are guardians, and you will have mating festivals. You will have a child. Like the women will get impregnated, and once the child is born, you will just give it up to the nurses. They will train these citizens, and again, it's the same.
The cycle continues.
Cycle continues, and philosophers will rule. And when I read that when I was 18 years old, I was like, what is this nonsense? This is dictatorship.
Interesting.
Right. But in my class itself, there were people who really associated with it. So people who, especially people who come from a lower caste and have seen like the evils of the family, they were like quite into this philosophy.
Wow.
And someone like me, I wasn't that. Now I get it. Like then I was like 100% okay, this is not cool at all. But now I still get it, like say 30%.
Okay.
Yeah, and so everyone is tethered to certain philosophies, regardless of their if they are conscious or not. Right?
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around like all the implications of this. That so the idea was that Socrates thought that the thinkers should rule, right? The philosophers should rule, and everybody else has just a basic function of procreating and giving the kids.
And everyone will be sort of trained from the very beginning, regardless of where race, caste. Of course, there won't be caste, but like all of those things. Nothing, like it doesn't matter where you're coming.
So there is no other hierarchy.
Yes, no hierarchy.
Okay, so there's no other discrimination except between philosophers and non-philosophers, which is convenient.
Convenient, yeah.
So I wonder if he was biased in some way.
So basically, what happened is, so the dialogue, how the dialogue goes is, he has a dialogue with this guy called Adimentus, and he says like, if you were on a ship, would you want anyone to just like sail it, or would you want someone trained? Right. So someone who is actually trained, his idea is someone who is actually trained how to do politics should be the ones doing it, and no one else, everyone else. So democracy should not be a concept.
Now, to be fair, this is a thought that has occurred. I mean, to me for sure. And I'm sure a lot of people, that when every other job requires you to have some qualification, why do we give the most important jobs to people without training? So let there be democracy, let there be voting, but vote amongst people who have some training in that field. Like who know how to say, if somebody is becoming aviation minister, let them know about handling the aviation industry. Like if somebody is doing, I mean, I'm just giving you an example, but there has to be some training, some kind of academic background, because every other job requires it. Why not this?
Right.
And even in the US, right, like what is happening, and the kind of, like anyone can become a president, great, but then the kind of responsibility that a president has, what if it goes wrong? What if somebody untrained goes there? Like, is it worth the
popularity contest?
It's a popularity contest. Exactly. So definitely that, I mean, some parts of that argument does resonate with me, but it's like such a tricky spiral to go down into, because then the idea is that what if that training is not equal? And what if not everybody has the same kind of access to that knowledge, and
Right.
all of that
And
comes in.
and their own, I mean, even their own desires to do a certain thing and not the other.
Yeah.
Like that is also not thought about. Like
Correct.
certain people have intrinsic motivations and not of the
Exactly.
other. Yeah.
Like the basic fact that Socrates said that philosophers should rule, I mean, a part of my mind is like, I mean, okay, he just convenient. Exactly. You can't escape that. You can't escape the human aspect to everything. Everything. That खुद का देखना, वो जो एक, there is an element, I don't think we can ever escape it. Okay, but we have gone down a different road.
No, so that's true. Like Adimantus basically asked in that dialogue, "Okay, how do you think this will happen? This is not gonna-" So Socrates' answer was, "Okay, if we have philosophers as rulers, this can happen." His answer was essentially that philosophers are more likely to change because they do more thought experiments, so they are faster in accepting change and all of that. And I mean, sometimes I just think of all of these, like essentially political philosophy. I just imagine Mars. Like, what would Elon Musk do?
Oh, Elon Musk. Interesting.
What would Elon Musk do? Like, if he had to create a society, he has like a lot. So, what kind of philosophy would I want Elon Musk to read?
Right.
In my opinion. So, if he is creating a new society,
which is very possible.
Yeah.
He might do that. Like, there might be a Musk colony in Mars, like anytime.
And whatever philosophy he chooses, that's what's going to happen.
Right. Sometimes I wonder, maybe that is why he wants to start Neuralink. Just as a way of
just to know
just to equate everything and put it all into, okay, this is a conspiracy theory, guys. I'm not saying that's what he's doing. I'm just randomly thinking. Hrithik Mohan, thank you. Turning science into poetry. Oh, I love that. So I find that there is a lot of poetry in science and science in poetry. So like that is a different discussion. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Yeah. So why is philosophy important? This is why.
Okay.
Like if you're trying to push boundaries in any way, in any field,
right,
you will need philosophy. You will need something to guide you. You will need your own thought experiments, be able to have your own thought experiments and have valid ones. So understanding how I'm thinking is right and why I'm thinking this is also right. All of these aspects need to come into being.
Right.
And this is another reason that philosophy is important, is because so many of them can coexist. And that's the best part, because philosophers argue amongst each other all the time.
Sure, I can.
All the time.
I can totally believe that. Yeah. Like if somebody is just tickling you all the time, you'd get very annoyed. Stupid nihilists. Yeah.
So there is argument all the time. Yet being able to, so I think how I'll come a little personal here, that how it helps me. Just the fact that I can coexist with so many thoughts, and it doesn't bother me that someone else can do something else. And but but then there are certain philosophies again. I think one more thing I want to talk about, just wanted to mention, is utilitarianism. So
utility and utilitarianism. Okay.
Utilitarianism, and it comes so naturally to us. It simply means maximum happiness for maximum people, right?
Okay. Oh, that's what it means.
That's the philosophy.
Oh, okay. Right? That is what we say we want.
Yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, if you're looking for maximum happiness, so this is a political philosophy. It comes Jeremy Bentham and J.S. Mill.
Okay.
I think somewhere in 1700s, they came up with this concept that our society should be built in a way, our laws and all of these should be politics. Should be built in a way that it should bring about maximum happiness for maximum people.
Understood.
Right? So simple.
Sounds very intuitively correct.
Correct. Yeah. And we have been going through this. Now, there are two types of utilitarian activities or events or behavior as well. Right? So one is like the goodness in the act of the act itself. So if I'm gifting someone something,
like altruism.
So altruism, if I'm, for example, if I'm giving someone chocolate or whatever, I'm making one person happy,
Right.
right? And then there is so the locus of the, I'm just going to read this out. So the
Sure.
outcome, see, outcome is the most important part.
So the greater
So
good.
greater good. So
Right.
there's this really cool concept here. There's this, so Batman. So people like so I'm taking the example of Batman.
No, I love it.
So in the second way, the robbers who killed Batman's parents
Yeah.
are essentially utilitarian because
Everybody has killed Batman's parents. Like if you followed the series,
Yeah,
Joker
that's
has killed, I think Scarecrow has killed, like I can't remember any villain who has not killed Batman's parents. But
Right.
yeah, anyway.
So whoever has done that is
Yeah.
utilitarian because outcome was Batman saved a lot more lives.
Right.
So Batman, so in that concept, so the act, so there are two types, right? So the act itself or the outcome.
Right.
So in the act, it's not very utilitarian, but
Right.
the outcome of it is.
Hmm.
So utilitarianism also struggles with these two versions of it, and what
I get
is-
it. So what is interesting to me is that
Mhm.
human beings are just doing things to each other since forever.
Mhm. Right.
And it's almost like what philosophy is trying to do, or like human philosophy is trying to do, is retroactively make sense of कि इसने ये इसलिए किया है, so then this must mean this, and sort of put that into a context into the future. Like if this is why this has been done, then this is how things will be in the future.
Right.
Sort of like that. So
Sort of.
every philosophy is, now I'm starting to feel like almost every philosophy is like trying to explain human behavior and then predict human behavior. Like, yeah.
But not necessarily.
Acha.
Like of course not all again.
Okay.
So there is like someone very famous, Hume, philosopher of science.
Yeah.
So he basically said like inductive method of learning should not be a method of learning. Even if 99 times the apple falls, it is not promised that it will fall the 100th time.
Okay.
So we did choose a different, like, so not every philosopher thinks that way.
Okay.
That's my entire point. But like most of them do, and so we move a certain way.
Okay.
Our knowledge.
Yeah. Damn, this is so difficult because every line you say is like this whole other topic. I mean, now I want to talk about inductive thought process, and it's okay. 1 second.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Arun has just said paradox. Individual can change society, but where do individuals get thoughts? Society. And second, republic. Democracy works if elections are replaced by sortition. What does sortition mean?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll have to see.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
the
not
first one I totally understand because there is the paradox for sure, because individuals form society and the society forms individuals. And that is in keeping with a much bigger discussion on language and communication, because essentially what is happening is we are continuously exchanging information with each other and with society, because society is each other. And the more you share, the more you get back, and the more you get back, the more you learn, and the more you learn, the more you share.
True.
So that is the cycle.
Yeah.
Right. So
I
now,
mean,
tell me.
Yeah, I mean, dataism. You know how dataism believes that information should be free.
Free
And
flow,
free flow, and that's how it should be. Like
Correct.
and we are constantly sharing information.
Yes, correct.
Constantly sharing.
Mostly with Google and Facebook, but yeah, also with also with each other sometimes. And we are now part of it, right? Like, so you and I are talking. You are giving me information, I'm giving you some little bit of information, and this chat is taking information from us, and they are responding back, and they are talking to us, and then they will go and talk to their friends about something that we talk about and made them think, but they will not take the exact same message, because they will add in whatever their own life experiences had taught them.
Exactly.
So when we say dataism, they will take it add their own concept, share it with somebody else, and that they will take that, and so on.
Yeah.
And this is how society changes each other. So yeah, it's all, we are all part
constantly interacting.
Correct.
I mean, if anyone, like, if people don't know about Dadaism, I think they should study it. Like, it's so interesting. That's the new religion.
Oh wow, I love it. Okay, I'm just going to note it down.
Yeah.
Dadaism.
So Dadaism. So in fact, there was this. I don't know the complete. So I think he was an 18-year-old boy who hacked into JSTOR, and there was some legal harassment, and he died by suicide after that.
Oh.
And so he was the first martyr of that religion. So like, you should actually.
Are you serious? This is a religion? Okay, one second.
Yeah, it's a proper religion, and there was like a full-on thing with JSTOR that happened.
There are so couple of comments on. So Sparsha said that we should do an episode of postmodernism.
Yeah. Oh, that is another.
Yes.
Another thing altogether.
So,
I love postmodernism.
Yeah, same here. So I did a series on art, and I read a lot of postmodernism as far as art is concerned, because I was trying to understand how art evolved. I was just talking about painting and Picasso, and so I was just reading about the evolution of art through time, and it's interesting how that reflects the overall philosophy and thinking of society at large.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all there's this book, I'm forgetting the name, but like Vienna was like the hotspot for artists and scientists and all of them to come together and discuss the same. And Gustav Klimt and all of them, like, also, sort of coexisted.
It'll be a lot of fun to talk about that, for sure. Like, because it's interesting, because today we are talking about truth and what truth is, and in postmodernism we are literally going into what is beyond truth. So what happens when we question. And
I mean, I would really like to do postmodernism, because we are kind of living in a postmodernist hell right now, and I would like to redefine.
I love it.
Because there is no truth, right?
There is no
so much fake news, there is so much, and this is why I want to bring back a little bit of
sanity, like just
do a bit of evidence research.
We will, for sure. I would love to explore that. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so I think basically what I'm trying to get to is, because psychology is essentially these two things: your culture, your environment that you come from, and what are the things that you hold. And psychology is also a science now. It's considered a science, right? So the way we study human behavior has also changed over the course of, and what we know about human behavior has also changed.
Correct.
And personally, so this is a very personal ideology, that I find epistemological research to be more ethical for me when I'm using it with someone. So if there is a good enough research and replication, only then do I use it with my clients.
Right.
So I think that's very important. So I will talk about the types of therapy that I use and the philosophies behind them.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Be cool?
Yes. So before that, let me just sort of see where chat is, and are they on the same page as us?
Yes.
So usually what happens with this chat, is that if I turn away for like 5 minutes, then I can't pick it up, because it's just
so many of them,
and they're on a completely different conversation sometimes. So one second. Anandita said, I think everybody here wants Shoto's opinion on thought experiments like the trolley problem, train problem, free will. Yes, I think that would be fun.
Sure.
So
Let's talk existentialism. Let's talk about that a little.
Yes. So I saw this serial called as The Good Place, and that has a lot of it talks about ethics and trolley problem, and that was a fun series. Okay, what else? Here people are declaring every philosopher OP. Sortition is random pick, like lottery.
Okay.
That is what
sortition. Okay.
Yeah. So democracy works if election is replaced by sortition. That's what Arun said, which is an interesting way to look at it. Yeah. 21. Have you read 21 Lessons for the 21st Century? by
I started it.
Yuval
I never
Harari?
finished it. Yuval Noah Harari. I
Yeah.
started it. I couldn't finish it yet. I
Yeah.
should.
Anandita is just screwing with us, I think. She's saying talk about Scientology. Exactly. Enough said. Invite Kunal Shah. Sure, I will. I actually did ask him to come on and talk about the sort of like how learning about startups. And let's see, he might come next month. But I mean, of course, I can't promise it. Direct democracy. Direct democracy is something that we can talk about.
Yeah. So there is direct and indirect democracy.
Yeah, exactly.
Just khap panchayats are almost direct democracy.
Right. So udhar ke udhari
हाँ.
khatam. Right. Okay. Let's get back to what you were saying, and we are now trying to tie up sort of
Psychology.
like philosophy's practical aspects. How do we use philosophy in helping people?
Right. In psychology, purely.
Yes.
Wait, I had to address something. Existentialism, sorry. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
I had to, yeah.
Oh, which is
I had-
perfect. Avanti has just said BoJack Horseman is the perfect. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah,
There's
I have.
Yeah, so that talks about existentialism.
A lot. Okay. So, all right. So, when we think about existentialism, just tell me, what do you think? What is your idea?
Here and now.
Here and now? Okay.
That's what
interesting.
I feel, that everything is just here and now. We are living in this moment. We are experiencing things, and this is also something that I believe, that we give meaning to things.
Yes.
And sometimes those meanings either are given knowingly or unknowingly, but it is still given by us.
Given by us.
So that's what I think about existentialism.
Yeah. I think you've summed it up, essentially.
Awesome.
Essentially, yeah.
If this is a class, I get full marks.
Yeah, you've summed it up in a very simple way.
Yeah.
So it started off by Kierkegaard, but like Sartre, Albert Camus, Simone de Beauvoir, they were the ones who made it popular, brought it into the forefront.
We should have a session just on how to pronounce all the names in philosophy, because I have made some very, very embarrassing mistakes in my life,
So
calling Descartes and Carl Jung, and oh god, it's been a traumatic learning experience. Like philosophy has been more embarrassing than neuroscience. So,
Oh no, I don't worry about it. It's okay. I mean, it just means you've read it. It just means you've read it and not heard it somewhere.
Yeah, I know. So I just loved the way you said all those names, and I wish I could say it like that. So that was very impressive. Election. So Arun is really stuck on the Republican
Democracy?
sortition. Yes, the election should be replaced by sortition to eliminate the power greedy people, because power corrupts. Mathematically, it ensures equal representation. Huh. So that's so weird, because there are certain lines in that I agree with, and I also instinctively feel like there is something wrong in it also.
Yeah.
I think political philosophy is something we should talk about.
Yeah, I'll do another.
Yes, let's just keep it aside.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk about political philosophy at some point.
And it's amazing, actually.
It is, I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Continue. Let's talk about
Awesome.
psychology and philosophy. Yeah.
Just because
Existentialism. Yes.
Because it's a nice segue, because there is something called existential therapy.
Oh,
Right.
wow. Okay.
Right. So it is a therapeutic technique that even I use, a lot of people use. So I'll just explain what it means. So something that you said is very correct about existentialism, that it's in the here and now. You give things meaning, right? So nothing is there because God gave it to you, or none of that, right? You are responsible for your own actions.
Right.
What you do is up to you. And again, so I think we talked about the Sartre's quote sums it up. You are condemned to be free.
I've
There
heard of
is
this.
there is no other way.
There's
You
no
are
choice.
free. There's no choice. You are free. Now make your choices. Right? So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. So you're condemned to be free is a very, I think, one way, but condemnation sounds like a negative word as
Yeah.
well. So this is where I think we have to bring in the biopsychosocial model, and I'll also
Yeah.
mention why Descartes.
Hmm.
So Descartes, until 20th century, that was the concept that your mind and body are two separate entities,
Hmm.
right? So they are dual. But right now in psychology or even neuroscience, psychiatry, we all use something called the biopsychosocial model,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
even existentialism, which basically focused mostly on your psychology and sociology, right now we have another layer that comes in, that there is a biological aspect to our choices as well.
About fucking time.
Yeah.
Took them long enough.
40 years, dude. It's just been 40 years.
Whatever, I'm annoyed.
Just
No, no.
literally started somewhere like in 1970, late 1970s.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
Yeah.
it's just 40 years that we've started practicing this. Mind and body are not separate.
Yeah.
Human beings are a product of all these three things.
Correct.
Your biology, which is your cells, molecules, hormones,
Yeah.
you will know better. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah. And then comes your psychology, which is your thoughts, how you behave, how you feel,
Right.
your biases, and all of these things, right?
Right.
And then social is your environmental factors.
Right. So, yeah, it's interesting because this is sort of like the triangle that we make when we talk about a disease, and we try to figure out why. Okay, so why did this person get the disease? And we talk of this triangle of gene, agent, and environment. So gene is, you are genetically predisposed to get the disease. So maybe a lot of people in your family had it, and you know all that. Agent is some specific thing came into your body and caused that disease. And environment is that environment, you were in an environment that encouraged that disease.
Right.
So you literally have to go through all these three things to figure out the true cause of something. And it's usually a mix of all this. So like in malaria, the agent is a mosquito that comes and bites you, but not everybody gets malaria. So maybe some people will have a genetic predisposition to malaria.
Towards malaria.
And the environment is what sort of sets the stage for the mosquitoes to breed and so on. So if you want to cure malaria, you have to sort of cure all these three things.
Three aspects.
So it's sort of almost like we're taking that model and trying to understand behavior from a triangular sense. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So this is how, even in psychology, this is what we essentially call it. Names are different, concepts are the same.
Got it.
Right? Concepts are the same. So right now we don't do that mind-body dualism anymore.
Right.
We do consider. So this is where I will talk. I'm sorry. I think I missed existential therapy. Talking about it a little bit. I'll come back to it once I finish. Yeah, is that all right?
Yeah, sure. 1 second. Divyakratu Mujumdar, please take my question at 22:28. Oh wow. Dude, I'm sorry. I don't know how to go back. Can you just type in the chat again? Can you type your question again, and I will take it up. And yes, Kalpesh is okay. He was just about to type in the chat to start discussing on existentialism, so he's very happy. All right.
Awesome. So okay, so in let me talk about existentialism. Then I'll go back to biopsychology.
Sure.
Sorry, I missed that out.
No,
existential therapy essentially holds, the concept is depression, anxiety, isolation. All of these things are part of maturation. Every human being, to become mature, will have to go through some of it, right? That is what makes
agreed.
Some of it, at least some of, like, okay, I believe this for until now, and suddenly if it breaks, you will be able to see through, like, that crack is very important, so that you can see yourself. Until now, okay, you are doing this, your parents said this, your friends do this, all right, cool. But then when these systems sort of start to crack, maybe not completely shatter, but even just a little bit of breaking of it, cracking of it, helps you to get a bit more insight about yourself, and take more responsibility of your choices as well.
That is so true, because when you grow up, you are given an identity. You are told, and you yourself participate in that, like you create this sense of self. And sometimes that sense of self is so strong, like it's almost like a wall.
Right.
And you can't see where it has come from. It just is. It's like one of the fundamental truths, like this is me, this is all I am, and I am this person. That's it. And this brings back to our first comment of how we better know how something came. Because every belief will get broken at some point. And if you don't know how something has come, if you don't know how to make a bike, when it gets broken, you can't remake it.
Absolutely.
So this sort of links me with that thought.
Yeah. And you're completely correct, because I mean, when do you get depressed, or when are you anxious? Essentially, if you look at very essence of it, that something in your psychology, something in your biology, or something in your environment is not working the way you wanted it to work, the way you thought it should work.
Yeah.
Right? So once you learn about it, once you have
control,
you have better control. When you identify, okay, this is how I'm thinking. So for example, something very simple, black and white thinking. I've always thought, like, if someone does something wrong, they are just a bad person altogether. Right? So
because it's easy, right? Binary is very easy.
Right. So what you carried forward, you start to question them, and that questioning is a very important thing we need to do.
Correct.
It's easy. It's of course easy to just believe something and okay, this will happen and this will happen, but a lot many times they don't.
Right and wrong. Yeah.
And your expectations genuinely do not match reality. There is literally no one whose expectations 100% matched what is happening realistically.
Yeah. That is so fascinating. I mean, I love that at multiple levels, because the two things you said, control and expectation, are like the cornerstones of mental health. So when your expectations don't match up, then you start getting triggered. And then if you are not able to control things, then you enter into that spiral. And that spiral can go down the depression road or anxiety road. Like, these are just words, but it's all a mix of, trigger, like self-defense triggers that your brain sets off. And so when you were describing control, I had a very random image in my brain. So people are going Shoto OP, okay? So I'm just going to convey to you that there is a lot of appreciation for you in the chat right now.
Thank you. How sweet.
The idea of if you are a gun owner, there is this thing that you do, that especially in the army, you should know to take a gun apart and put it back in like 3 seconds or 5 seconds. And the more comfortable you are, the more it shows that you really know how to handle this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think that every belief is like a gun. Because, I mean, in every sense, right? It can do so much harm, it can do a lot of good, it can protect you and all of that. Because it keeps you safe. Beliefs are what keep you safe.
Keep you safe, yeah.
And if you don't have beliefs, you don't have anything, basically. But you better know how to take it apart and put it back together.
Put it back together. Yes. Deconstruction.
Deconstruct. Yes. And yeah, I love that thought. I just it just resonates with me so much, because I feel like the more control you have, this is what you can do. This is what control means.
Exactly.
Being able to deconstruct your identity and put it back together, that is control over yourself.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know, I haven't watched the Freud concept, but like this is the ego shattering. Your ego is built with defense mechanisms.
Correct.
You have defense mechanisms which can be anything, right? Like
denial,
denial, all of these things. So you have having defense mechanism is important. But when you keep using it and keep using it, when it doesn't work, that's when ego starts to shatter.
Correct.
So learning your own defense mechanisms, knowing when to use them and when to discard and use something new.
Correct. Like Rummy.
I
You
haven't played.
You haven't played Rummy? Oh my god, dude, Rummy is awesome. So in Rummy, what happens is you have to. So you have set up 13 cards, and you have to make patterns, right? So you have to make a sequence, you have to make triplets and all those things. And somebody is continuously dropping a card and picking up a card, and you have to very quickly take a card, decide if you want it in your hand, and if you want it, you have to keep it and throw another card.
All right. Okay.
And so what you're doing is you are continuously shifting your patterns. So at first you think that, okay, I'm going to make this sequence. But then if you find another card, you may have to discard that earlier plan, and throw it out and try to make a new set of patterns. And life is literally like that. You are given new evidence. You have to continuously rearrange your identity, change, evolve. And people who get stuck to nahi main isi pattern pe banaunga, I will wait till the right card comes, may not get that card.
Exactly.
Oh god, I'm tripping.
That's brilliant.
What are people saying? Perpetual Sadar is saying a bit about sublimation.
I will.
Yes. You can go and see the Freud. I think it was the second or the first episode. We did talk about defense mechanisms, but I would love to hear what you have to say on that.
I mean, I will get to this.
Get to it.
Because, expressive arts therapy does use that.
Oh, lovely. Perfect. Okay.
So I will get to it. I think I've talked about existential therapy more or less. This is how you approach that. There is choice, there is free will, there is responsibility.
Okay.
And with knowledge, and these are certain way you mature. And we basically support them with concepts and, explore your own belief systems. And you have the freedom. You have the freedom to look around the world, see what works for you, and make that choice.
Correct.
So giving you that choice is a very important part of that therapy.
I love it. Yeah, right? Makes sense.
All right. Next, I'll move on to CBT because
it's essentially giving them control over their own emotions.
Exactly. And being okay with their experiences. That's another very core part of therapy, in fact. Like, just feel your feels. Just
feel your feels.
Yeah. Just be. That's
in the failure talk, we touched upon how it's kind of important to detach your prefrontal cortex from your limbic, so that the limbic will feel what it feels. But then the PFC should be able to sort of detach a little bit and observe the emotion rather than completely take the emotion on itself.
Exactly.
Right. So
exactly. So you're completely right. I mean, a lot of therapy is just observing.
Correct.
And coming to mindfulness, that is exactly what mindfulness is.
Yeah.
And this is what the third wave of CBT has taken it. So I'll explain what the waves are.
What are the waves of CBT? Yes.
And so first wave came with that.
One second. CBT yes, is cognitive behavioral therapy, and I think the word itself is so awesome. I mean, the word
cognitive behavior, and that's the most empirically proven type of therapy that we use right now. So again, whenever I say something, I always say right now, because until now this is what is the best.
Truth changes.
Truth changes.
Yes.
So until now, this is the most empirically, epistemologically, all of those things, research, evidence-based done thing. So there are 3 waves in CBT. So the first wave is classical conditioning, operant conditioning. That's what we got to know. So I'm sure you've talked about this somewhere. Pavlov.
Yes. I mean, I've talked about classical conditioning. Can you tell me? So classical conditioning is Pavlov, right? That's what he did. Ring a bell, train a dog, he will salivate, associate one sensory input to another reaction, sort of thing. What is operant conditioning?
So operant conditioning is more voluntary, essentially. So positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, punishment. These are your operant conditioning.
The carrot and stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone does something, like if my kid does something where I'm giving a chocolate, okay, you do this activity more.
Then
So
like bargain. Yeah.
So essentially, so that's pretty much it. And so coming back, so in classical conditioning, it's just slightly involuntary.
Okay.
That even though yellow is a very bright color and supposed to be a culturally happy color, someone who has had a terrible experience in a yellow bus will associate something negative with it.
For sure.
And this is classical conditioning, because it just got associated without much voluntary
like PTSD and all that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that was the first wave of CBT. Second wave came and talked a lot about learning, how to learn, observation, maladaptive thinking. So this is where the cognitive biases, distortions came into being.
So maladaptive daydreaming has been one of the most requested topics. I mean, in every session, somebody has said, talk about maladaptive daydreaming. If you are familiar with that, we can explore it at some point. Or we can read about it. Yeah,
maladaptive daydreaming is not a clinical term as such. I'm not sure if it is.
No,
I haven't studied.
So we can explore that at some point.
Sure. Yes. All right. So like there are a lot of cognitive distortions, but like there are 15 basic that we look into.
Okay.
So something heaven's reward fallacy is something very common, that if I do something nice, I expect something nice from the other. Right? If I do heaven's reward is essentially if I live a good life now.
Then, correct.
So there is something that's coming. So
to be continued wala thing.
Continued, हाँ.
मतलब कि बाद में देखा जाएगा.
बाद में देखा जाएगा. And life doesn't work that way. If you've been nice, really, there is no guarantee that nice things will happen to you.
Oh God, we are triggering so many people right now. Oh God. Okay, 1 second. What is this? What is happening? Perpetual Sadat wants to hear from you about sublimation, so I think that is going to happen. Pavlov's dog, hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy we should talk about. No attack. Amrita feels attacked with a lot of it's really unfortunate. I keep apologizing to her after every stream. I'm like, sorry dude, I didn't mean it. Personal attacks, OP. It's the same guy. Yeah, actually Arun, I think I agree. It is so probably it's the same person who's been asking for maladaptive daydreaming everywhere, and so subconsciously I've just taken it as a lot of requests, but actually I think it's the same person.
Just the same person.
That's how advertisement works.
Just repeat.
Yeah.
All right. So CBT right now has taken, it's called process-based care. So it has taken into a lot of concepts from Buddhism, mindfulness, there is distress tolerance, there is a lot of things. So within CBT, there are a lot of therapies that have come up inside CBT, and for some of them are like transdiagnostic, which means like not any, but like most of them can be worked with this
right.
But something like DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, that mostly works with addiction or borderline personality, mostly famous for borderline personality disorder.
So they are all, so the common theme in the third wave, so to speak, like the modern cognitive behavior therapy, is self-awareness.
Self-awareness,
right? That's what it is.
Self-awareness, and not just awareness. I think there is a switch from Western philosophy to Eastern philosophy in CBT here.
Wow.
Because Western philosophy focused a lot on mind. Just thinking will solve the problem for you. Eastern philosophy had techniques like yoga, meditation, all of these were techniques that
Eastern philosophy OP, man. I am super proud of that. Right? Because it's true. There is a lot of inherent mindfulness that was there in our culture. Like at the core, there is this whole sense of like calm down. go in, ये सब मोह माया है, right? Like that, ये सब मोह माया है is such a essentially Eastern philosophy concept. Yeah.
And we have moved like very externalized. In fact, there is a very, I forgot who did this research, just how we perceive our bodies in itself is so different from how someone else. So when we say self, how I imagine self is almost my mother is there, my family is there, all of these people are there. And even touch, like my body does not really end here because we used to live in such
Correct.
Tiny spaces with so many people, and how we experience touch then and how we experience touch now is vastly different.
Interesting.
So even yourself, like the definition of self is different in a holistic society and an atomistic, like an individual society.
What is the other word? Atomistic.
Atomistic and holistic. So it's simple, like Western and Eastern, how we look at it.
Okay. Have to explore this on a different time. Identity. Like the idea of identity. That will be a neurophilosophical talk because I have a lot to say on identity as far as neuroscience is concerned. So I will be drawing there.
Yes. And there are so many good research done on like just self and like how we identify as self, like brain.
Yes, shows, how we perceive self has so many neuroscientific concepts. I just love it. We will talk about this sometime.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll just come to, we've discussed existential CBT. This is what happens.
This is the third wave. Yes.
Yeah, and I'll come to expressive arts-based therapy now because that's my baby. I love it.
Tell me why.
Yeah. So,
and tell me where to sign up.
Yeah. So expressive arts-based therapy is essentially.
So this whole thing was a 2-hour long advertisement. It's just. I now get it, but I love it. Full marks.
Not advertisement. I feel I can only talk about what I know.
Correct. I love. Yeah.
Right. So this is like my.
You should only talk about what you know.
Yeah.
Right. So that is why you are here. Like so, I wanted to hear about expressive arts therapy because it's been on my mind for a long time that how can different aspects of life come together. And for me on a personal level, so for me poetry and medicine has been sort of opposite ends of the spectrum. And people would think, right, like, oh, if you're a doctor you don't have time for poetry, but then I would just love it if, hey, poetry is therapeutic. So it just puts everything together. So when I read about you doing expressive arts therapy, that was one of the first things that clicked in my head. Oh, this is really interesting.
Right.
So yes, I do want to hear it. It was just a joke.
It is amazing. I mean, I feel this is where a more actionable things come in within therapy as well. It's not just talking. It's not just verbalizing. There are so many non-verbal things that come into play. So when we are doing therapy, there is music, there is poetry, there is art, visual arts, there's movement, there's all aspects. Photography, we cover all of them, right? And what is the philosophy behind? This is where, again, the mind-body dualism changing towards a biopsychosocial model.
Right.
It really impacts in expressive arts therapy because we hold, like the very concept is your body speaks and your body holds your stress, your body holds your emotions.
Okay.
So your movement therapy, why my neck hurts, or why do I carry stress here, or like some people carry stress in their chest, in their head, wherever. So actually addressing, having that somatic concept of your emotions really helps. And movement in that, the way I move, why do I sit this way, why don't I sit this way, right? All of these aspects come into play when we talk about expressive art therapy. This is just movement, like when I'm talking about
I just wanted to say one thing that I was reading about pain recently, and how pain, we all think that we know about pain, like we know what is pain. Oh, something is painful. Pain is one of the most misunderstood or less understood concepts, I think, in life, because pain is so subjective and so contextual that you can't even say that which is why like pain has no score. Pain is very
Right.
like you have visual analog scale. So out of 10, how much does it hurt you? But that same amount of pressure, maybe 7 for one person, 3 for somebody else,
Right.
7 for you today and 3 for you tomorrow.
Mhm.
And the concept of pain as an entity is very, very interesting. And
Yeah.
one of the ways they have now realized, so painkiller, the whole painkiller industry works on the concept that pain is a fixed, like a quantifiable thing.
Object,
But
yeah.
the idea is that because pain is subjective,
Mhm.
what if we can use subjective methods to handle pain?
Exactly. Yeah.
And they have done such fascinating experiments using movement,
Yeah.
using visualization, using virtual reality.
Yeah.
So people have put on goggles and
VRs,
imagined them skiing, and they have done foot surgery. But because they can now visualize their legs in the snow and kicking a ball, they don't
Right.
feel the pain.
Pain. Yeah.
Which is what then? Like, what is reality really?
Okay.
It's
But this is true. We use expressive art therapy in pain management a lot.
Correct.
It's one of the core ways that we use it.
yeah.
Tell
me more.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. But yeah, we've spiraled back to what is
Yes.
reality.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. I tend to
Awesome.
I tend to go
Awesome.
there a lot.
No, I love this. Like, this is the philosophical aura that we
Yeah.
are in. So let's
Correct.
do that. Yeah. So, so I'll just come back.
Yes.
And then I think this is my last point
Sure,
anyway.
sure.
So simply, two things that we mostly use in expressive arts therapy is sublimation and projection. These are the two main. So
Oh, yeah.
sublimation.
Perpetual Solar, here you go. She's
Yes.
talking about sublimation.
Sublimation.
Yeah.
So sublimation is very simple. It's taking any emotion and sort of turning it into a socially acceptable action. So
Okay.
if I'm feeling a lot of pain, a lot of these things, and I just turn it into an art, I am sublimating my pain, sublimating my emotions. Someone who has a lot of aggression and starts to play football or basketball, they are sublimating their
Channeling.
channelizing their whatever they're feeling in a different way.
Yeah.
So aggression, if they go and fight with someone, that would not be that
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
right? So they do something more socially appropriate, and sublimation is just turning what you're feeling into something which is slightly appropriate and easier for you to understand as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. The idea of emotion and action. So we all think that some emotions come pre-decided with
Right.
a specific action. So like fear comes pre-decided with running away. Anger comes pre-decided with fighting.
Fighting.
Love comes pre-decided with whatever. Like, every concept. So if you love somebody, then pre-decided ki, okay, now you will marry them or you will whatever. But emotion and action can be uncoupled.
Absolutely.
And when you're telling me this, I think this is what we are trying to do. That just because you're angry doesn't mean you have to fight.
You have to fight, yeah.
Like that is a
You can
limbic.
turn it some-
Yeah, that is a limbic thing. But if you're
Yeah.
disconnecting your PFC, then you can realize that you can take that thing and turn it into whatever you want. It's your reality.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yes, so pretty much it. And this is sublimation, that where we just allow them to feel what they're feeling, authentically feel what they're feeling.
Correct.
But in a different way. It need not just that uncoupling is happening.
Correct. I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is again coming back to feel your feels, but doesn't mean you have to act your feels.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What a lovely line.
Yeah.
Feel your feels. You don't have to act your feels. Yeah. Very true.
So you can just change that. And now that I mention it, I would also like to differentiate between thinking your feelings and feeling your feelings.
Oh, okay.
These are also two very different things. So, for example, if I'm feeling anxious, if I immediately go towards why am I feeling anxious, I'm thinking my feelings. Feeling my feelings is actually just observing yourself. It's generally we feel in our body. If I'm anxious, okay, my head is feeling this way, and
heavy,
just
and you're feeling
heavy.
low, and all that.
Correct. And emotions are very dynamic. They move a lot. So you can feel your body changing, and how you're sensing your body will also differ. And if we can take that out, externalize, project, this is where projection comes in. Right? So we project it onto, say, a ball. Okay, something very simple that I do and it works so well. So take a wall, and you have a ball, right? So if you're angry at your boss or whoever it is, imagine that's your boss,
Sure.
and you have to communicate with them with the ball. So the force that you have, you will realize. So when you actually, so you can, sort of use that as a metaphor, that the force that you throw your ball, it's way too hard. He will not get it. He or she will not get it. Right? So you will have to get that out first, and then communicate softly. So what is the best speed the ball should go at, and
Right.
reach, so that you can communicate with the other person more clearly,
So
and
that it can come back to you in a sensible way, and you can
sensible
pick it up
way.
again and throw it again. Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is like a very simple communication technique that we, and get it out, of course. So this is why therapy is there. Get the things out here, and then go back and behave how you want. What's the best way? But you can just, if you feel anger towards them, use all the force you need to do.
Correct. These are like hacks.
Hacks.
Right? I mean, I love the word hack. I mean, I feel like we are born with a very, very ancient system, and it's literally like a monkey finding a computer. I mean, we don't know what to do with it. We don't know, how to manage this thing that we are born with, and all these ancient emotions are just acting up all over the place, and literally your whole life is spent in just learning how to handle this thing. We didn't ask for it, but it's there, and it's just controlling us all the time. But it's interesting that we are figuring out. So the more we learn, so in 2020, the way we handle our emotions, or the way we talk about it, is different. So third wave of CBT is very different from first wave of CBT.
It's just been 13 years.
That is amazing.
It's just been
This is what impure sciences do. We can evolve so fast.
Ekdam.
Amazing. It's awesome. Okay.
Pretty much that. And then there is one basic philosophy called poiesis. So it's,
can you spell it?
Within Poiesis.
Okay. What is this?
It essentially means bringing into being something that did not exist before. Right?
Okay.
Yeah,
so erythropoiesis. So in medicine, there is a term called erythropoiesis, which erythro means so the red blood cell. So in your blood, so it's red because of something called hemoglobin, and there's something called red blood cell. So erythro is red, and erythropoiesis means the process of creating red blood cells. So I thought I knew what that thing means. So poiesis, creation.
Creation.
Okay.
So, and that in itself, like the concept, the idea that you can create something new which did not exist before, is therapeutic in itself, right? And
isn't that art?
Yeah, that is art. That is expressive art. That is expressive arts-based therapy.
That was so obvious.
That is it. So within therapy, when you can reimagine situations, so storytelling is again a part of therapy.
Okay.
Right? So you sort of use someone else's name or some other character, and you project your own story, even subconsciously. Even when we are creating stories randomly, we project our own self into
How can you not?
How can you not? Exactly.
It will come from your own life in some way, right? Yeah.
Right. And if you are going through a negative bias, your story will end in a negative way. So when we retell the story, recreate that story, it's a new thing that comes up, and that process of creation actually helps you gain perspective and take it back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think every artist knows this. at some level, because it's like a mirror. At some point, like I have written poems and then read them and realized that, oh, okay, that's where it's coming from, or that's what I was thinking. And yeah, it's amazing that, because if it can work for an artist, then everybody is an artist if you give them the space. Everybody can create, because everybody is born with the basic requirements to create. So yeah, I would love to know more about this. I would love to learn a little bit more about arts therapy.
Maybe some other time.
Yes, we can. We can, because I think we should do justice to it. We should go into it a little bit more in detail. So maybe if everybody is interested, then we can do a session on that. So Divya Krotu has said most of the cereal crops belong to the family Poaceae. Is that based on that word? I'm not sure. Maybe it is.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
there's a lot of interesting connections there. Okay. I had a random thought when you were telling me this about it, at the initial thing, like how philosophy is what is setting the stage. It's almost as if we are living in a bubble of light, okay? And we can see everything here in that bubble.
Right.
And everything that we can see, science is really hard at work, proving, disproving, making sure, improving, all of that things, right? But as soon as you leave that bubble, there is darkness, right? And we don't know what is there. So religion does a pretty good job at explaining everything outside that bubble. And I can sort of understand why, because it's scary to live inside darkness. So when you have an explanation for everything, you are like, okay, calm. It's fine. It's done.
Sure.
What philosophers do is, I think philosophers also try to do that. They try to give you an explanation as to why this universe is the way it is.
Yeah.
Correct. And I literally imagine like philosophers sort of taking a torchlight and sort of going into the darkness and saying,
yes,
this is why this is there and this is why it's there. And you don't...
Oh man.
Yeah, tell me.
No, so you actually talked about Plato's Allegory of the Cave.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes.
That's so cool.
Correct. That's what he did. Yes. So, right. And it's literally like, if you go there and you will come up with all these weird things, absurd things, it doesn't matter. Now suddenly science has something to talk about, which till then they didn't even know that this is there. Like they didn't even go there. But now, because Freud went and talked about dreams and childhood sexuality and all those things,
right,
despite like whatever criticism, or at least the conversation started,
yes.
And if you don't talk about it, you can't even improve, you can't even prove or disprove those things. So that is how science develops. Science needs something to think about. And this is not the random thought. The random thought was that is what science fiction writers do.
Yeah, exactly. Science fiction writers, comedians, they are the new philosophers essentially.
Exactly. That is what I was thinking, that people who go outside the norm, like these things can be said, these things should be talked about. Everybody is comfortable in that circle.
Yeah.
Whoever goes outside and says weird things, they are actually doing everybody a favor of enlarging the world.
Right. Just a little more light here as well.
Correct.
Just adding the light here. Yeah.
So like when Star Trek came and Star Wars came the first time, like the concept of like Star Trek, I remember like the concept of a mobile phone was never there.
Yeah.
And then, they had these things where they could just flip open and talk. And like the people who 20 years later worked on mobile phones grew up seeing those things.
Seeing that, yeah.
And there is a reason why they made those mobile phones, because that is what their mind registered.
Exactly. That's the image that they carried forward, yeah.
Correct. And yeah, I mean, that was it. That was I mean, I think of how nowadays there are no philosophers, but there are philosophers. These guys are philosophers.
No, so there are legit philosophers as well.
Yeah.
There are
Sure,
actually.
I mean,
So
that's
it's
true.
yeah.
Fair enough. I don't want to.
No, there really are. I
Yeah,
mean, essentially, again, interdisciplinary. Everyone is every philosopher has to be an interdisciplinary because okay, the philosophy doesn't pay money, it will pay you well. So you have to do something else
Yeah.
while you think of like, okay, more zoomed out concepts.
Correct,
but
correct.
that zooming out still happens. There are some famous ones, Judith Butler,
Yeah.
Slavoj Žižek, Noam Chomsky. They are
Noam
still-
Chomsky, yes.
Noam
Oh,
Chomsky.
I love that you mentioned that because the next, I was talking to a friend of mine who is doing PhD in philosophy of language.
Mhm.
No, not a PhD. I think she's doing a master's.
Okay.
And that was one of the sessions that I was going to have maybe in a month or so. And because you said Noam Chomsky, because
Noam
that is
Chomsky,
what
yeah.
he's like most known for, linguistics.
Yeah. Mhm.
Apart from all his political views, I think
Yeah.
this is what he's known for. So
Yeah.
that also is something I find very interesting. Language, the philosophy of language itself.
Yes.
But,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
No. That's pretty much it. I think I'm done. Like, do you
Yeah.
want some questions and answers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Guys, I hope that so far everything we spoke about, I hope you liked it.
Yeah.
Because this was super abstract, and to be very, very honest, we have like gone a long way away from neuroscience, and we are sort of entering into a place where it is more of thinking and just learning on the spot. And this is something I wanted to explore since a long time, and I hope that this connected with you all, and I hope that you liked it enough for me to do this again. Because I really want to do this again, and I think it'll be fun.
That would be lovely. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what they're saying. Perpetual Salad, can we have a session on philosophy as therapy?
Yes.
Yeah?
I basically touched upon it, but
Correct.
I can have a more.
We can do a more
concept
detailed one
of
on
it.
that. Lovely. Okay, now let's see what chat has been saying. Okay, now where do I go? I'm just gonna go up this time. Yes, too interesting. After 2 drinks, everyone becomes a philosopher. That is true.
True.
2 drinks, 2 joints. Yes, everyone becomes a philosopher. That is true. Democracy is inherently populist. Demos plus Kratos. Oh, that's true.
Correct.
That's the breakage of the word. That's true.
It is populist. Yeah.
Why very less audience? Are you talking about this stream or I don't know? Scientists and new philosophers, morality, Sam Harris, Steven Pinker. Yes. I like Sam Harris. So I like a lot of what a lot of philosophers say, and I disagree with some of them, which is what is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because
Same.
how do you agree and what do you disagree? That is what defines how you are growing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Jordan Peterson will be one of my examples. Like, I hate one part of him, but then there's this other part that I genuinely
I know.
genuinely love him.
I know what you mean. Which is interesting. Like, if you're not making, if a certain section of people are not disagreeing with you, maybe you're not making your point clear enough. I mean, you have to be very ambiguous for everyone to agree with you. For sure.
Actually, yeah.
So, I mean, well done, Jordan Peterson. Okay. There is expanding the definitions of what the box is, not just thinking outside the box. Yes, Anandita. But Freud did coke. Doc MD, I'm not sure he did coke. I think he was.
He did.
He did. Wasn't he pushing coke as a
medicine,
therapy for?
Yeah, as a medicine.
Yeah, but he must have tried it. How else would he have known it?
Yeah. He used to take a lot of coke. He was coked up a lot.
Yeah. Oh, X.
A lot.
Okay then, like he must have had really interesting dreams after that. Jordan Peterson and benzos. What is that?
So he got addicted to benzos essentially.
Oh.
And he talked a lot about taking responsibility and all that. So it kind of got a little tricky there. Yeah.
All right then. Philosophy equals the lighthouse from the last stream. Yes. We talked a little bit about how emotions are lighthouses. and you're on a boat, so you should just use emotions as a guide
Yeah.
and not get caught up in them. But
Yeah.
emotions are important, because how else would you know
Right.
if something is important to you or not, right? Like if you're happy, then that means it's important. If you're sad, then so on.
Yeah, exactly. Good indicators, yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's just a metaphor that I thought about. We are all waiting for more, waiting with full capitals. We are waiting for more sessions with Shoto, expressive arts-based therapy. Yes.
Awesome. Done. I love to.
Lovely. Plato's allegory of a cave alert. Yes, I went there, Pushkar. I went there unknowingly. Although, so wasn't the cave allegory also about seeing the shadow of reality?
Right. So the concept is people exist in the cave where there's just one light and they only see shadows. But philosophers go out and see the colors, and that's why philosophers come back and tell you. But then you don't tend to believe them.
Right. So interesting. Because for me, that it's sort of like inverted. Because I think that the light is inside. Because that is where science is and knowledge is. And the darkness is outside, and the philosophers go into the dark. They don't go into the light, because I don't think that there is a source of light anywhere. I think we have to provide the light. Like we have, our knowledge is the light, so to speak, because there is infinite darkness around us. All the things we don't know is the darkness, so to speak. Like it's all of almost inverted from what. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I want to be forever happy. Good luck with that, Shireen. I really do. I mean, that's not sarcasm. I really hope that you are happy forever. That would be awesome. Adira, hey Adira. Adira is my cousin. She's on the chat as well. You must check out arts-based therapy. Lovely. Abu Bakr said, I'm mentally destroyed. I am so sorry to hear that, dude. I hope that you're better soon. Entertainment only. Elon wants direct democracy on Mars. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he does. Okay. I think, Shoto, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
it was such a lovely conversation, and it was. So let's be honest. This is a difficult topic.
Yeah.
This is not. I mean, this is not easy. This is super abstract, and it's. I think I'm really proud that we managed to even start off on this conversation, and I think we can all agree that we have laid the base to talk about philosophy.
Right. Absolutely.
That's all I wanted. I wanted us to just get a concept of what it is, and the title was Why Are We Talking About Philosophy?
Why are we talking about it?
We are talking about it in order to lay the groundwork for us to learn more.
Right, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't want to be stuck in just what psychology is doing now.
Correct.
You know, that would be stupid. I wouldn't want.
Well, yeah.
Like for me, I feel that would be very stupid. Like, of course, when I'm practicing with my clients, I do what is research proven and all of that. But like for my own thoughts and ideas, I would like to push that.
Grow more. Yeah.
A little more.
Correct. To assume that we know everything, or even that as a species, right? To assume that sab kuch pata hai is fundamentally flawed. Like history has shown us that learning is forever. Like we will always. There's always another level.
Exactly.
Wherever you are, whatever you say, there's always another level. So when we say that I know something, you have to do that, conditions apply. Like, I know it now.
How do I know it? Where does it come from?
Where does it come from? How do I know? That's whole loop.
And I think it's okay. Like right now we have agreed upon certain ways to know and, stick to that. But like as soon as, again, more evidence, more structures, and philosophy really teaches us to be okay with that flux. Things will change.
Correct.
And you know what, like if you keep adding, there's this Nike ad as well, like crazy until you do it. So,
yeah, I think so. Yeah, correct.
So it's, you keep pushing those crazy ideas,
right?
But like once you actually see value in it, it becomes the norm.
Correct.
So that's how it keeps going.
And if you don't, so crazy is sort of in retrospect, because you need to find the right amount of crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
Because too much of it can obviously ruin your life and ruin everybody's life, but then too little of it, and I mean, there's nothing happening, nothing new.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's a weird thing to leave it.
No,
in.
I have a meme to share as the last thing.
Oh, excellent. This has been a very meme-oriented chat. Okay. Lovely. Sure, share.
I'm as millennial as they get.
Arey re, kya baat hai? 1 second. Let me expand the screen. All right. Hey, this looks familiar. Okay. Nothing to see here.
Just
I feel like we're doing a PewDiePie version of philosophy. This is meme react going on.
I find this so hilarious. Just look at his face.
This is crazy. We are doing philosophy meme react. Guys, do you realize at what level this channel has reached? I mean, amazing. Okay, show us the next one.
I think that's pretty much. I have 2 more which I didn't get to share, but okay,
Yes.
yeah,
Things exist. Okay, what the hell? This is you have just opened up a whole new world of streaming philosophy meme reactors.
Yeah, and this is the last one. Tell me why backstreet points for you.
What is this? What is happening? Okay.
Just so it becomes a little light. I know it's a heavy topic. So
Okay, I love it. So this is what. Okay, I'm going to end this. I'm going to end every stream like this. Just pick up random memes and. Okay, Pushkar wants meme education added to the Ministry of Education.
it should be, man.
Oh, God.
This is our new art now. This is our new art form.
This is exactly. So Richard Dawkins, I think, said. Wait, I forgot who said meme as a unit of reality, right?
Yeah. Memification is the repetition of certain mutation, I guess.
Yeah,
mutation
like the
of-
same thing concept sort of condensed, and then memes are shared, like how ideas are shared. So a meme spreads through society. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not very sure. Yeah, I'll have to read up again. Perpetual. So our most of our super chat today has been Perpetual Saudat, and I think his name also suggests that. And I really appreciate that. Where is that join button? Oh, what join? Oh, the membership join button. Yeah, I should do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a whole other thing. I'm just learning about. Yeah.
I know.
All right.
Oh, okay.
I think we have successfully
Finished.
completed a chat on philosophy. I'm super proud of us. I'm super proud of this chat. And all right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I
Thank
had
you
a
so
great
much.
time.
So did I.
Great, yeah.
Yes.
It was damn fun. Actually, like I never get to talk about philosophy this way.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. I loved it.
On a YouTube live stream with
Yeah.
220 people listening.
20 people. Thanks for giving me this detail at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Alright.
much. We could
Yeah.
next time we can have a couple of drinks and then do it. That'll be very
Yeah.
different. No,
Yeah,
I'm
that-
kidding.
Yeah. My friend was like saying, have a peg and go. I don't know what I. Just
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but that would be another level, okay?
That's
Bhai.
true. Nay, let's see. Let the channel grow a little after that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I shall see you soon. You are amazing, all of you. Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Siddharth. Bye bye.
Thank you. You wait, Shato.
Oh, okay. I'll wait.